Thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2. It's a great day to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Let's jump right in. Sorry about that little delay in the beginning. I've had some technical problems, so I'm filming on my phone, so I apologize for that lapse in the beginning. Just having some issues, just working through it. Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers, we finally get some encouraging news on Broderick Jones. Omar Khan offers encouraging Broderick Jones update. You know, this is a huge year for Broderick Jones. This is a huge year for Roman Wilson also. I mean, Peyton Wilson, Keanu Benton. Let's think about this for a minute before I jump into the article. Keanu Benton is a second-round pick. So far, the career has been up and down. Roman Wilson, third-round pick. Another Tomlin pick. Hasn't done anything with his career. Broderick Jones is a first-round pick. Pick number 14. Steelers moved up 3 spots to grab him. Peyton Wilson is another example of this. He's a third-round pick, 98 overall. Fluffy Nug YT, what's up, brother? How are you? Yeah, I know it's tough catching the lives at 2 a.m. Sorry about that. I'm just having some technical stuff, so that's why I'm filming late sometimes. But Peyton Wilson, you know, this is going to be a very, very telling year for all these players, especially about Tomlin. Let's just say hypothetically, all of these players significantly improve for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2026. What does that say about Tomlin and his coaching staff? You know, what does that say about them? Also today, Patrick Queen, there's an article written. He was detailing the difference that makes Pittsburgh's scheme so hard to play in, so very tough to play in. And I expect the Steelers to be they're going to be better coached this year. I expect a lot of these players to be playing much better than they did under Coach Tomlin. In the NFL, coaching is very, very important. You know, it's coaching is more important in the NFL and football than any other league. Let me jump into the article, and I'm going to go from there. Omar Khan offers encouraging Broderick Jones update. Listen, I like Broderick Jones, the person. I want it to work out. I really do. From what I've seen of Broderick Jones, do I think it's going to work out? I don't know. All the physical tools are there. Sometimes he seems like he's not the most motivated player when he's playing. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's been poorly coached this whole time, his whole career in Pittsburgh. No more bums. Let's effing go. Yeah, I mean, I agree. But you know, I want to see Broderick Jones do well. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but let me jump into the article. He's starting to do more and more. Steelers GM Omar Khan told Arizona media at the NFL owners meetings Monday that Jones' rehab is progressing. He suffered a neck injury in Week 12 against the Chicago Bears, ending his season and requiring surgery. He's starting to do more and more. I've talked to him a couple times over the last couple weeks, and he's in a good place and ready to work hard and do whatever he can to be ready to go, Khan said of Jones, according to a tweet from the Tribune's Review's Chris Adamski. Well, again, I mean, it's good news. It's better than he can't play. It's better than, you know, he's on IR for life and he's never going to be the same. But, you know, the effects of Mike Tomlin missing in the draft: Keanu Benton, second round; Roman Wilson, third round; Broderick Jones, first round; Peyton Wilson, third round. Now let me say what Tomlin, the years that he had good drafts. I would say 2007 was Mike Tomlin's best year drafting players. First round, Lawrence Timmons; second round, Lamar Woodley; fifth round, William Gay. I mean, there was more players drafted, but I think that's one of his best drafts. That's in 2007. Then the other years that I think Tomlin had really good drafts were 2010 with Pouncey, Worlds, Emmanuel Sanders; 2011 with Hayward and Marcus Gilbert and Cortez Allen; 2012, DeCastro, Mike Adams, and Calvin Beachum. But look at those years. Look at 2010, 11, and 12, and 2007. That's almost, what, 15 years ago? So the last time that Coach Tomlin put together consistent drafts were more than a decade ago. 2010, 11, and 12. 2007, I think 2007 was his best year. He left last year, 2025. That's 18 years ago. And you're feeling the effects of this. We're still feeling the effects of this. 2016, Mike Tomlin's first-round draft pick, Artie Burns. I give it an F. 2017, Mike Tomlin's first-round draft pick, TJ Watt. I give it an A+. 2018, Mike Tomlin's first-round draft pick, Terrell Edmonds. I give it an F. 2019, Devin Bush. I give it an F. 2020, Chase Claypool. He was a second-rounder. I give it an F. 2021, Najee Harris, first-round pick. I give it a C+. He was very productive. C+, B-. 2022, Kenny Pickett, first-round pick. I give it an F. 2023, Broderick Jones, first-round pick. I give it a D+. D+, C-. 2024, Troy Fontanu. I mean, Troy looks like a stud to me. But again, he missed his entire rookie year. He was hurt. Coming out of college, people knew that Troy Fontanu had an injury history. And what happens his rookie year? He misses the entire rookie year. So you're seeing all these picks, one after the other, and they just, none of them worked out. You see our second and third round picks that I just read. Keanu Benton's still on the team, Roman Wilson, Broderick Jones, Peyton Wilson. I expect these players to have much better productivity and a better career under Mike McCarthy, especially Peyton Wilson. Peyton Wilson last year, I think he had 116, 120 tackles in part-time duty. He was a part-timer. He wasn't playing every down. A lot of people think he can't play the run. It might be the scheme. It definitely could be the scheme. The scheme doesn't help. Even Patrick Queen is complaining about the scheme. Let me read you the article from Patrick Queen. This is what Patrick Queen had to say. Hard to play that way. Patrick Queen details difference that makes Pittsburgh's scheme so tough. I done been in two different defenses. Baltimore was just like, that's y'all position. Y'all do what y'all got to do. Everybody help each other. With Pittsburgh's, y'all let the D-line do what they do. Y'all protect them. Then the safeties, y'all protect them. And it's kind of hard to play like that, Queen said, according to video via the show's YouTube page. It was just eye-opening to be able to see the differences and stuff. But the linebacker position, if it's like that in some other places, that stuff's tough. I ain't lying. You got to do every single thing. I can't agree with him with this. You got to do every single thing. You're getting paid $40 million a year. You better be able to do everything. Stop the run, play the pass, cover tight ends, cover running backs. I don't really agree with this part. You got to do every single thing. You got to be able to play the run, play the pass, no matter what receiver, tight end. They got running back, offensive lineman. You got to know every single route combination. You got to team run all the run plays. You got to be able to make the calls, line up, get everybody set, get everybody lined up. Well, when I hear Patrick Queen say something like that, it kind of sounds like a gripe or a complaint to me. And it's just like, dude, listen, they're paying you, you're like the highest free agent acquisition ever on the defensive side of the ball. And you're the Mike linebacker, you're the middle linebacker, you're wearing the green dot on your helmet. Well, that's part of the job. That's part of the job application. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna disagree with you on the part about Terrell Austin with his difficult defense. Queen of the bums. I'm not gonna disagree with you as far as it goes with Terrell Austin, what he was doing. But the Steelers have major problems. We got major problems. If you go back into Tomlin's draft history, 2008 was one of the worst Tomlin drafts ever. Mendenhall, Limas Swede, Bruce Davis, Tony Hill, Dennis Dixon, Mike Humple, Ryan Mundy. Tomlin's 2008 draft class could be like the worst draft class ever in Steelers history. Rashard Mendenhall lost you the Super Bowl. And then you look at the rest of these picks, just downright horrible. Then he had the 2015 draft. Um, 2015, they had like 5 or 6 players drafted, and in 5 years, none of them were on the roster after that. So, we're seeing the effects of this now. These still hurt, but we have the only positive thing I'll say is, the players that we have now, Keanu Benton, Roman Wilson, Broderick Jones, Peyton Wilson, they have showed good signs of potential. They really have, especially Peyton Wilson. Peyton Wilson showed me that he can really play. But I don't know. We need to improve. And Patrick Queen is putting it all out there. Like, it's not easy to play in this difficult scheme, this difficult defense. So the Tomlin effect, you're going to feel the effects of Tomlin's bad drafting for a very long time. Very, very long time. Let's see. Mike McCarthy called Roman Wilson into his office. He wanted to just promise him a fresh start with the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of love for him in the building. Mike McCarthy vows fresh start for wide receiver Roman Wilson. Can you imagine under Mike McCarthy and his offense, the 4 or 5 receiver sets in his first year as a full-time starter? If Roman Wilson, has 800 yards receiving and like 7 or 8 touchdowns, that's not even fantastic numbers. But that will be so telling about Coach Tomlin and his coaching style. This is what Mike McCarthy went on to say. New system, fresh start. McCarthy said Monday via the Athletics' Mike DeFabo on Twitter. I'm hoping he's one of those guys that would benefit from it. I was impressed talking football with him. There's a lot of people that have a lot of love for him in the building. Despite being healthy last year, Wilson only caught 12 passes for 166 yards and 2 touchdowns. He basically had no impact on offense, and he got benched down the stretch. Some of that could have been due to the lack of chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers usually had a lot of nice things to say about Wilson, but the two struggled to connect on the field. With the Steelers trying to re-sign Rodgers, there's a chance that the two could look better after a year together. And I mean, in Mike Tomlin's defense, Roman Wilson did get to work with Aaron Rodgers, like behind the scenes, one-on-one. And I'm sure Aaron Rodgers was coaching him very well and, very detailed coaching. I don't think it looks good for Roman Wilson. That's my opinion. I've been on the record from day one saying I don't think it's going to work out for Roman Wilson. I don't think it's going to work out. And I don't think it's going to work out for Caleb Johnson either. It doesn't mean that I want to quit on these players or I don't like them as human beings. That's my gut feeling that it's not going to work out. But again, under Mike McCarthy and that coaching staff, things could be a lot different. And I'm totally on board with Mike McCarthy. Yeah, $30 million. I'm totally on board with Mike McCarthy not cutting these players and seeing what they can do. I'm sorry, I'm reading the super chat messages from a distance from my phone. I can barely see it, so that's why I'm like going like this. I'll be, my computer and all my technical issues will be fixed tomorrow, so I'll answer the super chats a little bit better. You got to excuse me. My camera didn't want, I'm not going to get into it, but sometimes when technical, it's just like, man, when one thing, it's like the domino effect. One thing goes wrong and it's boom, done. Oh, well, here's an article. This was kind of my whole point to my video today. Still working through it. Steelers are an example of an aftermath from missing on first-round quarterback, analyst says. Not just quarterbacks. We've missed on multiple first-round picks year after year. This is what happens if you miss out on the first-round guys. The Steelers are exactly in this boat with Kenny Pickett. They're still moving through this. It really is at least 5 and often 7 years that are attached to this sort of pick. If you're drafting a quarterback this high, May said Thursday on the Athletic Football Show. Again, you said the Steelers, that was one. Again, you said the Steelers, that was one where I had down. It's been 4 years since they missed on Kenny Pickett. They're still working through it. Well, I mean, I think Kenny Pickett set the franchise back 10 years. That's my opinion. Missing on the Kenny Pickett pick. I mean, Kenny Pickett is probably the worst first-round draft pick in history. I really do believe that. I think he's the worst first-round draft pick in the history of the black and gold. But, I'm glad that certain beat writers are picking up on this, that we are, our organization is in a world of hurt and trouble from all these bad draft picks by Coach Tomlin. And don't tell me it wasn't Coach Tomlin making the picks. Stephen A. Smith, he came out and he confirmed it the other day that, we're finally going to get to see what Omar Khan can do because Mike Tomlin's been controlling the draft for the last 19 years. And I know you've heard me say it over and over, and you're probably tired of me saying it, but that's the reality of it. That's where we are right now. Let's see what else is going on. Mike McCarthy explains his unexpected pro day absences. Mike McCarthy said on McAfee the plan was 6 pro days this year for him, but various things happening resulted in him going to just the Georgia one. Probably the most important one, the Georgia one. Didn't get to as many of the pro days as we had scheduled. We were originally scheduled to go to 6 of them just because a bunch of other things moved around. We just made the one down there in Georgia, McCarthy said Monday on the Pat McAfee show. Well, I was able to sit in with scouts before we went to the combine. We took a lap through most of the positions, McCarthy said. We're very, very involved. And when we get back, we have our draft meetings, our final draft meetings with the coaches that we'll go through. We've been working hard hand in hand. Well, for what it's worth, McCarthy has seemed to mostly keep up with the draft cycles throughout the years. Shortly after he was hired by the Steelers, McAfee himself described McCarthy as being more prepared than anybody else for the 2025 draft, despite not coaching it in the NFL that season. If he's meeting with the scouts enough and watching enough film on his own, that may make his pro day absence less significant. I have total faith in Mike McCarthy and what's going to happen in the direction that the Steelers are going in, through the draft and with the offense, with the defense, with the new coaching staff. I only have positive things to say. So when it comes to that anyway. Let's see what else is going on. Leave it to the Ravens. Former Ravens wide receiver says no way Big Ben truly believes Steelers are best AFC North team. Why not? Torrey Smith. Ben is just making you know what up. Ain't no way he truly believes Pittsburgh is ahead of Baltimore or Cincy. Big Ben, he was talking about the Ravens saying, I think their window is closed. I should say it's closing. I do think we in the AFC North, and I'm not saying this because I cover the Steelers and I'm a Steelers fan, but I do think we are the best team in the AFC North, hands down. So, Torrey Smith, he's a Baltimore Raven. He's always going to be somewhat biased, just like Ben's going to be biased, and just like I'm going to be biased. But if you look at our roster compared to all those teams' rosters, I do think overall we have the best roster. And now we're going to have better coaching than the majority of those teams too. Capoli predicts Pat Freiermuth and Darnell Washington will have the same amount of snaps. They're two different guys. They bring different things to the table. So much. Can we go 1A and 1B? I still think Freiermuth's probably number 1, just for the fact that we're not quite sure how they're going to use Darnell Washington. They used him extremely, extremely well last year. I would assume this coaching staff is smart enough to use him there. Capoli said Monday on 93.7 The Fan. One's obviously a better pass catcher. One's obviously a better blocker. They're going to have the same amount of snaps. So if it's 1A and 1B, that's how you want to label them. That's a good problem to have. I don't know if I want them to have the same amount of snaps. I guess I do because I want to see the Steelers run the ball, and who's ever a better blocker should be on the field. Freiermuth, he's another player that really needs to get his act together. And when they throw him the football in critical times, he needs to catch that ball. That's what he really needs to do. So Pat Freiermuth kind of put himself in the doghouse. Critical times, he dropped the football. I've said it multiple times. So let's see what happens. Pittsburgh provides roadmap of how to improve the offensive line. Currently, the Pittsburgh Steelers have two offensive linemen vying to replace Isaac Seumalo as the team's starting left guard along the offensive line. Spencer Anderson and Brock Hoffman. Mike McCarthy hopes to expand the competition. Speaking to reporters Monday, McCarthy outlined his future vision for the position. I think we got really good veteran competition, he said via the Steelers.com's Teresa Varley. It's a group that I obviously like to add some young guys to that role. And really, I feel like I can say that throughout our whole roster. I thought we did a good job getting players so we could add through the draft. You cannot have enough good players. Yeah, I agree with you. Anderson is entering the final year of his rookie deal. Pittsburgh's 7th-round pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. He has primarily been a backup. He also started with injuries, especially to Seumalo, have happened. Well, I do think it's hard to say that our offensive line is in good shape when Broderick Jones, your starting left tackle, or, supposed to be your starting left tackle, is rehabbing a neck injury, and you don't know if he's ever going to be the same player again. So, it's probably the most important position on the field because that's who protects the quarterback's blind side for the most part. I don't know. Even if Broderick Jones didn't have the neck injury, I really couldn't complain if the Steelers first round, if they drafted offensive tackle. I really can't. You see all the other pieces in place. It's like, we need a quarterback, obviously. We're not getting one this year in the first round. So a first round pick, offensive tackle, safety, linebacker. But if you take a safety, he better be an absolute stud. If you take a linebacker, he better be the greatest linebacker that the SEC has ever produced. I don't want a guy that's like, oh, well, we're not really sure. They better be top-notch studs. It better be no-brain missers, But I won't complain at all if the Steelers go left tackle in the draft. You can't. You can't complain if they go left tackle. Broderick Jones, again, it could be Tomlin. It could be a 50-50 thing. I don't know. 50% Tomlin, 50% the athlete. That's where I'll put it right now. Steelers very open to adding quarterback in 2026 NFL draft. Yeah, it better be like in the 4th round or later. Even as the Pittsburgh Steelers patiently wait for Aaron Rodgers to make his decision, the franchise is open to adding at least one new face to the quarterback room before the 2026 NFL draft is done. The team has already shown interest in several of this year's top passers. During a Monday meeting with local reporters at the NFL owners' meetings, Mike McCarthy said that's not just a smokescreen. He's excited about this quarterback draft class and very open to adding one. The Trib's Chris Adamski tweeted, referencing McCarthy's comments about adding another passer. Steelers coach Mike McCarthy just spoke here at the Arizona Biltmore Resort, says he's in communication with Aaron Rodgers, but also that he's excited about this quarterback draft class and very open to adding one. Story to come. Oh, God. Oh, I really hope that we don't fall for the peer pressure because the draft this year is in Pittsburgh and we reach for a quarterback. The worst thing that the Steelers could do in this year's draft in Pittsburgh is reach for a quarterback. It was like, if we get a quarterback that doesn't pan out, it's going to be another 6 or 7 years of just being driven into the abyss of mediocrity, even deeper and deeper. Oh, my God. If there's no sure lock in the quarterback draft, Big Ben, Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, one of those types of first-round picks where everybody knows they're going in the first round. It's just a matter of when. If we can't get that guy, I don't want a quarterback. I don't. Steelers but Steelers do this all the time. They throw landmines out there. They sneak attacks. Steelers very open to adding quarterback at 2026 NFL draft. Maybe they're trying to get other teams to bite and use their picks so they can get a safety. Maybe that's the case. That's what I'm hoping for. Maybe this is just all a smokescreen. Let's hope it is. Let's see what else is going on in Steelers world. Mike McCarthy was talking about Steelers' offensive line, the terminology. Steelers' offensive terminology will largely remain the same, Mike McCarthy says. On offense, I end up keeping more of the terminology and the language of the past, McCarthy said Monday on the Pat McAfee show. I am conscientious. You've been through that. You don't want to make it totally brand new if you don't have to. On defense, that system's been there since 1992. We don't want to just tear it all down and call yellow and blue when it's been yellow since 1992. At the end of the day, it's about communication and connection. I mean, I know that it's been the 3-4 defense since 1992, but the only problem is that Tomlin took it in a new direction with his coordinators and just like totally, changed it in a way that, I don't know, there's got to be some type of changes. I mean, I'm sure there'll be changes. I understand what Mike McCarthy's saying. I'm not trying to make it a bigger deal than what it is, but we all know why the defense is not playing well. There's two names, and I'm not going to mention them, but we all know who they are. This is what Mike McCarthy had to say about Michael Pittman Jr. I love Michael Pittman Jr. He's perfect. Mike McCarthy shares why Steelers traded for Michael Pittman Jr. Michael, frankly, I loved him coming out of the draft. He was someone we had graded very highly in Dallas. If you remember, C.D. Lamb fell to us, McCarthy said Monday afternoon on the Pat McAfee show. Watching his career and just the way that whole deal came available, you got to give Omar Khan a ton of credit. He was watching that situation, and then it timed up great. He's perfect. He's the way I love to play. He's a bigger target, can play all three spots, can play the X, Z, and F, moving him around, and that's just the way we like to play football. We like to play concept football and keep moving our guys around and try to create matchups. I think Michael Pittman Jr. is going to be a great addition to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I don't really consider Michael Pittman Jr. a 2 receiver at this point. I don't know. I know, they're both getting big money, him and DK Metcalf, but I predict that Michael Pittman Jr. is going to have a better season than DK Metcalf. That's just my take. That's just my opinion. Let's see what else is going on. Mike McCarthy also went on to say he's had a lot of positive, healthy communication with Aaron Rodgers, weekly conversations with Rodgers. I've talked to Aaron regularly and will continue to do so, and we're just working through it, McCarthy said Monday on the Pat McAfee show from the NFL owners' meetings in Arizona, according to video via the show's YouTube page. And when it's time to fully address it, we will. But it's a process that he's going through, and I'm comfortable with it. But we've had a very, very positive conversations on a weekly basis. I mean, that's nothing new. I mean, that's what he's going to say. But I expect Aaron Rodgers to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's my opinion, too. I think he's coming back no matter what. Rock, sit down. Let me see what else is going on. Patrick Queen, he's revealed he played the whole 2025 season hurt. Patrick Queen was the Pittsburgh Steelers' big addition in 2024. He was coming off his best season yet, being named the second-team All-Pro with the Baltimore Ravens. Middle linebacker has been an issue for the Steelers for years, and it looked like Queen would give them a long-term solution. I just got so much respect for the position now, Queen said recently on the Football Frame of Mind podcast. I would never, ever talk about another guy at my position. It would only be good things because I know what goes on into this position. I know it's a lot, especially after playing this season hurt the whole season. Patrick Queen, he claims... Patrick Queen claims that he played the whole season on one leg last year. I don't know if I really believe that, but that's what he says. It's unclear what exactly bothered Queen, but he said on Twitter in December that he'd been playing on one leg. At the time, it seemed like he was referring to the injury he suffered a week before against the Buffalo Bills. However, Queen might have been battling through pain for much longer than that, with it starting to catch up with him down the stretch. I don't know. This is a big year for Patrick Queen. So I don't know if his contract is up. I mean, I think his contract is up after this season, but it's do or die this year for Patrick Queen. No more excuses. No more. You can't say it's the scheme. You can't say you're playing on one leg. It's put up or shut up. And you're going to be like, that's ridiculous. The man had over 100 tackles last year. And that's right. He did. But there's just no, you can't deny the fact that the Steelers are giving up almost 200 rushing yards every game. And when you're paying a linebacker, $30 million a year, you don't want to be giving up 200 rushing yards per game. And that's the bottom line. And I don't want to hear, we only gave up 150 this week. Patrick, look, I hear you. You want everybody to know, that you're not washed up and you are the player that I understand where you're coming from with these comments. But hey, show me. Patrick needs to show me, and let's stop tweeting. Let's stop talking. You're going to get a new coach. Everybody's going to get a fresh start. And, it's put up or shut up time, and that's the end of it. See what else is going on. If Kirk Cousins is Pittsburgh's plan B, the Steelers have new competition. Great. Rams head coach Sean McVay said they are still hopeful for a reunion with Jimmy Garoppolo, but also said they have spoken with Kirk Cousins and his agent as another possibility to fill the backup quarterback role. This is my opinion. I don't think Kirk Cousins wants to be a backup at all. I don't think he would sign with the Rams to be a backup. If Kirk Cousins has the choice to come to the Steelers and play, he's going to sign with the Steelers. So as a Steeler fan, I wouldn't even worry about this. Kirk is going to go where he can play. He's not going to sign with the Rams and be a backup. And when if let's say hypothetically Aaron Rodgers doesn't play and the Steelers sign him, he ain't coming unless he's the starter. So I wouldn't even worry about that. See what else is going on. Oh, the rest of these articles, they're just about, guys coming out of college and who the Steelers take and who they might not. I'm not going to get into that, who they're going to take, who they're not going to take, because we can go on for days and days. But I'd like to hear in the comment section, what positions do you think we need? Captain Kirk would be hilarious. I don't know. Captain Kirk might be our best option, honestly. I want to hear from you guys. Who do you think we should take? Should we take an offensive tackle? Should we take a linebacker? Should we take a safety? Let me know what you think in the comment section. What position the Pittsburgh Steelers really need to take in the first round of the NFL draft. And don't tell me quarterback. We all know they need a quarterback, but they're not going to take a quarterback. So let's just end that conversation. All right, I'm going to end it with that. And with that being said, thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2.